You can roll your calves out and see how that helps ground the shins into the floor. And then when you've got the shins as long as possible, do a little moving front and back, side to side, and find the exact center of your sits bones. We normally don't sit on the exact center. We're not precise human beings. But let's try to be as precise as possible. Find that center, press down into those 2 points, and use it to lift all the way up through the spine. Engage the abdomen and drop slightly back toward the spine and feel how that straightens the spine to take the sway out of the low back. Lift all the way up, lift the sternum, lift up through the back of your mouth. Feel how that brings the head in line with the rest of the spine. Then reach up one more time, glasses off if you wear them, arms wide, and bring your palms together. Use the thumbs to lift the sternum even more, and then release the shoulders toward the floor and check back in with all of those points to be sure that in bringing your hands together, you did not disturb the alignment of the spine. Sit bones down, spine tall, back of the mouth, up toward the crown of the head. Allow your eyes to softly close. Observe your breath. Just notice its qualities, keeping your spine tall. How is your breath moving today? Use the observation of your breath to draw your awareness inward, toward the realm of yoga. I'll chant 3 Oms. You can join or just listen. Om. Re-lift your sternum. Keep your trapezius muscles moving away from your head, but release your head to your heart. Set an intention for your practice this morning. Release your hands, raise your head, and softly open your eyes. Don't focus at first. If you have glasses, you can put them back on. Let's do a little bit of shoulder opening to help with our standing poses. So first, arms straight out, upper arms back into the shoulder socket. Interlace the fingers and rotate for Baddha Asana, bound finger pose. Reach up your sits bones and press them back into your support. Reach up your spine and lift again. Roll those trapezius muscles down because I know mine try to roll up when I raise the arms. And then from those 2 sits bone points, raise the arms up and straighten the elbows as much as possible. One line of energy from sits bones through palms. Spread through the palms, not the fingers. Release the trapezius muscles. If this is really hard, you can bend your elbows, back of the hands on the head, and roll the shoulders back here. Very often that gives you more room to then extend again. So press up. See if you can move your arms in and out behind your head. Keep stretching. I see a left elbow that's bent. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but everybody straighten your left elbow. One more reach. And then gently release. Check to see which finger's on top. We get to do the second side now. So extend your arms and take the second cross of the hands. Rotate the palms out. Look how high my shoulders have already come. Shoulders down, trapezius muscles back. And from here, grounding from your 2 sits bones. Swing the arms up, elbows poker straight, trapezius muscles down. Stretch the arms up. If it helped last time, bend the arms, shoulders back, and re-stretch. One line of energy from those sits bones through the palms. Keep moving those trapezius muscles back, which is a huge struggle for me because I have tight shoulders, but it's a worthwhile struggle. And get long. See if you can move the hands any amount behind the head. One more extension. And release. And now we've been in your Asana for a while, so let's stretch our knees. In our first Adho Mukha of the day, I doubled my mat, so I have to extend it, but if you're just on a regular mat, go ahead and push up into Adho Mukha. Fingers parallel to the front of the mat. Roll your upper arms so that the elbows face forward. Tuck your toes, press up. Keep the knees bent at first and lift the sits bones all the way to the ceiling. Roll the upper arms again and drive the sternum toward the thumbs. Sternum toward the thumbs, collarbones spreading apart. Then sits bones still as high as they can be. Sternum still pulling forward. Straighten the knees. Heels up. Take as much space as you can. Press the first finger and thumb base joint into the mat. And with your sits bones still reaching for the ceiling, see how high you can keep them as you now move the heels back down towards your mat and allow your head to release. Straight arms, straight legs, pull back through the thighs, pull back mightily through the thighs to take the weight away from the shoulders. The heels don't have to touch the ground, but they have to be pulling for the ground. One more breath here. Reinvigorate the arms and legs. And walk forward. Once your feet are under your hips, stop. Lift your knees, press your thighs to the wall behind you. Double check to see that your knees are poker straight. And then hands to the hips, roll your shoulders back and come all the way up. Now we're going to start with a quick Surya Namaskar, sun salutation, just to warm up. And interestingly, I hope we can all see my head. This is a very narrow room. I apologize for that. But it's the best room for yoga. So everybody come to the very front of your mat and stand in your very best Tadasana. If your hips are a little tight today or your lower back, you can take feet hip width apart, which is Samastiki. Otherwise, the classical pose is feet together. But be sure that the midlines of your feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. Press the big toe base joint and outer heel. Lift all 10 toes. I can see a few toes lifting. Good. See how that engages the thighs? Keep that engagement as you gently let the toes back down. I realize that my toes are not visible, but it's head or toes, folks. So we'll figure something out eventually. Keep lifting the knees. Press the buttocks down toward the floor to make the legs even firmer. Roll the shoulders back and gently extend through the arms. Lift the sternum and then swing your arms up into Hanasana. I walked back, you stay forward. I'm just doing that so you can see what I'm doing. So reach up, get as long as you possibly can, fingers together, palms facing each other. I'm just showing you. And from here, we're going to fold forward. I'm going to go sideways so that you can see a little better into Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana, so it's a half Uttanasana. If you need breaks, go ahead and get your breaks. If you can bring fingertips to the floor and keep the concavity in the back, that's great. Or you can hold your shins. But what we want is we want not a round back, we want a concave back. So concave back. One more breath here. Then fold down into the full pose. Keep lifting the knees. Keep the legs straight. Back up into Ardha, and then reach one leg back for a lunge. Right leg back, sorry. So from this position, there we go. Press through the right big toe base joint, descend the right hip, square torso forward, lift the sternum. Good. And then put your palms flat on the ground and step back to Adho Mukha. So we're taking another downward facing dog. Speaking of downward facing dogs, I'm sorry I have to move you. There we go. Do all of the same actions that we did in the last down dog. Make it as good as possible. And then over your hands, we're in plank pose. Press the first finger and thumb. Then bend your elbows, Chaturanga. This is tricky. If you need to lower your knees, do, but if you can, stay hovering, pull the heels back, then press up into upward dog, come through your arms, roll to the tops of your feet, lift the sternum, roll the shoulders back, double check that your knees are straight and your feet are pulling back. And then after another breath, back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. This is when we realize that down dog is indeed a resting pose. I'm resting. And now take your left leg and swing it forward into a lunge, just like we did before. Oh wait, did we do right leg back? You should be in the opposite lunge, I'm sorry. Opposite lunge, I think that's left leg back. I shouldn't try to mirror and change legs. And again, descend the left hip, pull the left leg back to straighten that knee, square the torso over the front, and then step the leg forward. We're in concave Uttanasana now. Come down to full Uttanasana, back to concave, and then either hands to your hips and come up, or if your back is okay, just swing your arms up into Urdhva, palms together, Namaskar, Samastiti. All right, so we went through that pretty slowly. Let's do that one more time rapidly. So start in your Tadasana. I'm gonna be sideways again so that you can see. We'll be sideways this way so I can see you. Sprint up. I know that's no fair. Tadasana. Urdhva. Get long. Fold forward to Ardha Uttanasana. Pull the sternum forward, descend the thoracic spine. Then this time we're going to take the left leg back. So palms down, left leg all the way back. I should pick them out. And square the hips by pulling back on the left heel, descending the left hip, and driving the left side of the sternum forward. It's the one that likes to pull back. Get as square as possible here. And then back to downward facing dog. Press the first finger and thumb. Pull the hips back. Use this pose to elongate the spine from the firm arms to the firm legs. Really feel the spinal extension. And then forward to plank. Make sure that your legs are pulling back and your knees are perfectly straight, and the elbows to Chaturanga Dandasana. Pull the sternum forward, heels back, another traction for the spine pose. Lift up, bend your elbows wide, and slide through to upward facing dog. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Roll those shoulders back. Pull the heels back. And then back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. This time the left leg will come forward and pull the right heel back, descend the right hip, extend the right sternum forward. Make that leg firm. And step forward. Ardha Uttanasana, descend the spine to concave. Take a breath in the concave phase. Then full pose. Keep lifting the knees. The legs don't relax even when the torso comes down. And then sternum up. And either hands to hips or swing your arms up in Urdhva Hastasana. And then Namaskar. All right, that should have woken us up a little bit. Surya Namaskasana, Tadasana. So from here, let's move to Trikonasana. Triangle pose. So come to the center of your mat. Tadasana. Again, you can keep your feet hip width apart if you need to for your lower back or hips, but if you can do the full pose, do the full pose. Let's lift all 10 toes, drive the big toe base joint and outer heel into the ground, lift the knee, descend the buttocks, then gently step the toes down. Step or jump your feet wide, ankles under the wrists, extend out through the arms, press the outer edges of the heels, lift up through the spine. I will mirror, turn your left toes in and your right leg all the way to the right. And then check, my hips want to skew, so re-square your hips, to the front of the room. Extend out through your arms again. And raise your right arm. Get really long in those side ribs so that they stay long as you come sideways, come sideways, come sideways. Don't curve the torso. Keep the right side ribs long. Get as long as you can, and then you can come down to your shin or brick or the floor. Keep the the left arm straight for a moment. Roll both shoulders back. Press the torso straight up from the pelvis. Your torso should be coming straight out, almost as if you're standing straight up from the pelvis. Roll the torso, and especially the chest to the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back. And then bring that top arm straight up. Pull the two arms away from each other. Use that resistance to rotate the torso even more to the ceiling. If it's okay with your head look up, if not, you can look straight ahead. Or even down, but don't let the rotation of the torso follow. So everybody, one more extension, press into the back heel, really work the legs. Back heel's pressing, front big toe base joints pressing. And then to come up, lift through that left arm, toes forward, rest your hands on your hips for a second. We're waking up the legs. All right, second's over. Second side. Extend the arms. Really lift from those under the triceps. Extend from there. This time, right toes in a little bit, left leg all the way to the left, then re-straighten the pelvis to the front. Extend all four limbs. Raise the left arm, get long in those side ribs, and reach, 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 reach. Keep the torso straight. Keep the side ribs long. And when you've gotten as long as you can, then hand to a brick or the shin or the floor. Roll the shoulders back. Roll the torso to the ceiling. Press the back heel and the front big toe base joint to really engage the legs to their maximum. And when you've gotten all that, then you can raise that right arm up. Two arms pull exactly away from each other. It should be one line. And I had to adjust my errant bottom shoulder to do that, but now I'm in one line. And extend all four limbs. Again, head up if it's comfortable, straight ahead, or down if it's not, but keep rolling the torso to the ceiling. One more breath. And come up, toes forward, and step or jump together. Now, normally we wouldn't do just one repetition of a pose, but we're going to be coming back to this as part of that little Vinyasa sequence I was talking about. So for now, let's move on to Parseval Hanasana, side angle pose, and I like bricks for this one. So if your arms don't comfortably reach the floor, take your own bricks at whatever height works for you. And then back to Tadasana. Remember all the good things. We're not going to go slowly anymore, but big toe base joint, heel, knees up, buttocks down, sternum, all the things. And from your fabulous Tadasana, step or jump wide. Extend the arms. Left toes in, little right leg all the way out, we spread the pelvis and torso forward. Now this is a bent knee pose, so to lubricate our knee joint, let's go ahead and bend our knee 3 times and we'll stay on the third. Important thing to check is as you bend your right knee, make sure it tracks over the middle toe. So ready? 1, keep the torso straight up. 2, make sure that knee is tracking over the middle toe and keep the torso up. I see some torsos leaning toward that front leg. Stop, look. Is your torso leaning toward the front leg or are you straight up? Yes, good. Up, and 3, we're gonna stay. 3, keep pulling that knee back toward the wall behind you because it likes to roll forward. Again, keep it tracking over the middle toe. Reach out and bring your hand to your brick and your left hand to your hip. Press the bent knee into the left arm, the right arm, sorry, the other different. Descend the hip so that you're in one straight line. Keep pressing the bent knee into its arm as you rotate the torso, just like we did before. Keep pressing into your left back heel to keep that leg vigorous, and then extend the arm, the left arm back, and then straight up, and then turn the palm towards your head. Reinvigorate that back leg by pressing its heel. Repress the knee against the arm of the right knee, and then bring the arm over the ear and look up under the elbow. If this is not okay, you can keep your hand on your hip if it's really bad on your shoulder or neck, but otherwise, full pose. One more breath, and then arm up, torso up, straighten the knee, feet forward, hands on your hips. Everybody okay? Thumbs down if you're not. Okie dokie. Second side. Press the two heels. Outer heels press to engage the entire leg. Extend the arms. This time right toe in a little, left leg all the way out, re-square the pelvis and torso. Smile because it's Saturday. And then we're going to do 3 descents here also. Make sure that the knee tracks over the middle toe. 1, up, 2, up, and 3, stay, and then reach over, hand to the brick or floor, press that knee back into the straight arm on the brick so that you're really pulling that groin open. Rotate the torso more to the ceiling. Press back into your right heel to engage that leg. And then right arm straight up, roll the torso more to the ceiling. Turn the palm towards your head side. And then complete the pose if it's appropriate for you. Keep pressing the back heel. One line of energy from back heel through ring finger. One more breath. And then arm up, torso up, knee straight, toes forward. So, or jump back together. Everybody okay? Yep, okay. So now we get to do what I think is the super fun thing. My Trikonasana was not very low. Watch first, okay? Then we'll do it together. But I'm gonna go to my left side, your right. If I come back into my Parseval, briefly take the full pose, and then imagine that a teacher was standing behind you, grabbed your tights, said, keep your torso low as you raise your hips. And I slowly straighten my knee into Trikonasana. Look how much lower my pose suddenly is than that first Trikonasana I did. I was way up here at first, and that was the best I could do. But coming in from below really helps. So let's all try that. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. So, from Tadasana, step or jump wide. We're going to your right, so left toes in, a little right leg all the way out, re-square the pelvis. Go ahead and come down into your full Parseval. Take the pose. Even the arm, good. Extend that back leg. Do all the things with the hips. Push the bent knee against the arm. Then, literally, grab your hip, grab the clothes on your hip, and gently, as you straighten that right knee, lift the hip while keeping the torso down. And then, when your knee is perfectly straight, and your right arm is on a brick or the floor, raise your left arm into Trikonasana. Keep pressing the back heel and front big toe base joint. Extend through the torso, rotate the chest to the ceiling. These are looking pretty good. I hope they're feeling good too. One more breath, enjoying this amazing new Trikonasana. And lift up, toes forward, hands on the hips. Take a break, a little breath before the second side. Did that work for a lot of people? I just love that. Thumbs up if it worked. Nah, if it didn't. Nobody's talking. Okay, let's try the second side. So again, outer edges of the feet, parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Press the outer heels to lift all the way up through the legs. Descend the sits bones, make sure the pelvis is square. Arms out. This time right toe in a little, left leg all the way out. Re-square the pelvis and torso. Extend through the triceps. And then With an exhalation, descend into your Parseval and go ahead and take the full pose. There's a brick behind my cap. Take the full pose. One breath here, and then grab the clothing at your hips. Really press that left knee into its arm and keep the right heel pressing as you slowly straighten the knee, but keep the torso down. I had to adjust my distance a little bit, not sure why. And then, Takasana. Go back to that right heel, press the right heel, press the left big toe base joint. Rotate the torso with those strong arms. Enjoy the new depth of your Takasana. And then, up, toes forward, step, or jump together. All right, so that was our first mini Vinyasa. M-I-N-I, not M-A-N-Y. Parseval, Takasana. Then Vira 1 to Vira 3. Okay, so Virabhadrasana. This is always a fun one. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Let's go ahead and start with our heels, both heels at the wall. Hi, madam. So start standing at the wall. Off. Good girl. I know it's tough. It's tough to be the dog. So keep your left heel at the wall. Turn it out a little bit, maybe 45 degrees, and then step your right leg 2 big steps forward. So this is a fairly broad pose. And then my hips went askew. Press them back. So pull back from your right hip to bring it in line with the left, and press forward from the left heel so that your hips are coming back to parallel. Good. Then double check, are both knees really straight? To do that, press the back heel and the front big toe base joint again, straighten the legs. Good. And this is another bent knee pose, so Hanasana, keep the legs square, the hips square and the legs active. And with an exhalation, descend. Now my hips come a little askew when I do that. I'm fighting it. I'm trying to keep them straight, but nobody's going to stay perfectly straight. So descend. Ideally, that front leg is parallel to the floor. Mine's not quite there, but I'm trying. Descend one more breath. Make sure the back leg's poker straight though. No room for error in the back leg. And then to come out, straighten the knee, arms down, and you can step forward or turn to the side. So that's Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Let's do the second side. And again, this is in preparation for another fun little Vinyasa. So start with both heels at the wall. This time, turn your right leg out 45 degrees and take 2 big steps forward with your left leg. And if you had to adjust your distance last time, if you weren't wide enough apart to be able to get the front leg to a 45-degree angle, to a 90-degree angle, then take it wider this time. Learn what your body told you last time. So already my hips are askew, so I pull back from the front hip, thigh into its hip. I press from the back heel. Square those hips. It's okay if your heel comes a little up the baseboard. The classical pose is feet on the ground, but if it helps you keep your legs straight, your hips square to come up, then that's fine too. So square the hips here. Virabhadrasana, re-square the hips because they like to move when we move. And then with an exhalation, descend the front knee. Keep the arms straight up. Square the hips to the best of your ability. And abide in the pose. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Lift up. Ideally, the arms are lifting so much that they make the torso feel weightless on the hips. Stretch. And then straighten the knee. Arms down. Step forward. All right, so that's Vira 1. Now we're going to work very quickly with Vira 3, which is a balancing pose. And how can I best show Vira 3? I'm gonna turn this a little bit so that you guys get to see my wall and my hat castle. There we go. So for Vera 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to stand in Tadasana, and I'm going to find the distance where my fingertips can be right at the wall, not my palms, my fingertips, and my back can be flat. I'm pulling my hips back to keep my back flat, and this looks like my distance, okay? So I hope that was visible. Once you've found your distance, then pull the hips back, lift the thighs. The legs have to be super strong because what we're going to do now is keep that left leg, and I'm not mirroring now because I'm not straight on. Keep the left leg poker straight and keep the right leg poker straight as it raises back to the back. Extend both legs. Really pull through that back big toe base joint. Don't let the hip roll out. Keep the pelvis. My arms cheated. Keep the pelvis flat. You can even reach back and feel if you want to. Extend. I'm going to come out and look. Keep pulling the thighs back. Pull through the big toe base joint. I see some bent knees. Roll that right hip down. Your toes should be pointing straight to the floor. Straight to the floor. Yeah, it's harder that way, isn't it? But you can do it. Straight to the floor, and then lift the leg one more time. Make it a little bit higher. Big toe base joint. And then bring that leg down. That is the happiest thing you've ever heard, isn't it? And then walk forward to come up. Okay, cool. I saw two interesting things. Obviously, I mean, you know, we all make the same mistakes. It's real easy because that inner groin is tight for this to happen. So really work to keep that torso and legs straight forward and the toes pointing straight. And you can look down and see if your toes are straight down. But then I saw somebody else who was doing this thing. And really, the head, the ears, everything should be in line. And you should be looking really between your fingers. Don't let the background down here, okay? Because that will put unnecessary pressure on the spine. So we have a second side. Let's do the second side. Find your distance again. Fingertips. Really engage the legs. Press the big toe base joints. Press the outer heels. Pull back with the tops of the thighs to engage those muscles. And then swing that left leg up. Extend through the big toe base joint. Knee poker straight. Lift that thigh up to the ceiling. Think about lifting from the inner thigh. Lift the inner thigh. Peek to see if your toes point straight down. You can reach back to feel. Oh, I'm dropping a little bit. Feel if your pelvis is level. And then re-straighten the legs. Arms straight. Both legs straight. Ears in between your arms. Maybe looking between the hands. Maybe looking down at the corner of the floor. Do not look straight down. One more extension. And release. Walk forward. Come up. Cool. So the way we're going to turn this into a vinyasa, I didn't forget, is just watch first. I'm going to get my distance. All right, so this is where my toes have to be. Oh, dang. This is the tiniest room. I'm going to get my distance. This is where my toes have to be for Virabhadrasana 3. You can't see my toes, but no, I know that. So I'm going to keep my right toe right there and take my two big steps back with my left leg. And this is how I'm going to start Vira 1. Just watch. And then I lift the heel, the back heel. You really need to see that back heel. Yeah, good. Okay. So I take my Vira 1. I lift the heel. I lean forward so that my torso is literally lying on my front knee. And then I launch myself up. The wall is here. And I come into Vira 3. To come out, we get to come back through Vira 1. Okay? So, find your distance. Good. So yeah, find your distance. And then, from the place where your toes have to be for Vira 3, take your left leg back, make two big steps. so that you're ready for Vera 1. We haven't gone down yet, we're just ready. Square the hips here. From this position, we'll exhale and bend the knees as we swing the arms up. Classical pose, Virabhadrasana 1. Lift. Keep those back legs straight. And then lay your torso down over the front knee. You can lift the heel. Keep the back leg straight. And as you straighten the right knee and launch yourself up, back leg stays straight and comes up. Straighten the pelvis, toes straight down, extend out through that back leg. Virabhadrasana 3. Take a breath here. Straight arms, straight legs. Gazing either between your hands or at the corner of the wall and floor. One more breath, and remember we're coming back out through Vera 1. So extend back, come down to Vera 1, and then straighten the knee, and Tadasana. How did that go? Any real problems? It's challenging, but challenges are good for us, right? Let me see it, everybody. Hang on. You doing okay? Yes? Yes. All right, second sign. If you lost your distance, go ahead and find your distance again. All right, from Tadasana, we're going to keep the left toes right where they are. Step the right leg back, 2 big steps. Square the pelvis and torso. Once you're square, check in with the legs. Press the back heel, front big toe base joint, poker straight legs. And with an exhalation, descend to Virabhadrasana 1. Square the hips. Keep that back leg poker straight as you raise its heel. Lie down over the front bent knee. Get ready for liftoff. And keeping that right leg poker straight, lift yourself off to the wall. Extend the right leg back. Descend the right foot down. And reach. Get as long as possible from your fingertips through that back toe, always keeping the left knee poker straight, leg working. One more breath here. And then we're going to go back to Vera 1. So reach the leg back, come down to the bent knee position, arms up. Look up if it's okay with your neck. And then straighten the knee. Tadasana. I'm awake. I don't know about y'all. Oof. All right. How are we doing on? Okay. Let's do a cool down Vinyasa now, because that was extremely vigorous. So go ahead and take a couple of bricks to the front of your mat, tall side. That's fine. We're heading here toward Parseval. Parseval Konasana was side angle pose. Parseval is extreme front stretch. It's this pose. So we're going to start, as always, in our Tadasana. Big toe base joints down, outer heels down. Lift the thighs, shoulders down. Keeping your right toes right where they are. Step your left foot back, 2 big steps. And once again, notice that your hips have gone askew, so square the hips. You can put your hands on your hips right now. Just like last time, press into the front big toe base joint and back outer heel. Good. And then let's go ahead and just keep our hands on our hips as we pivot forward and bring our hands to the bricks. I'm going to go sideways so you can see. Here we go. So my bricks are right under my shoulders and my back is flat. Ideally, my thoracic will have a concavity in it too. If this happens, you need to come up higher. You can come up to fingertips. You can add bricks. You can bring a chair in front, but you want to be sure your back is flat. So from here, pull your palms back towards your back foot a little bit to pull your sternum forward. That's kind of a weird instruction, but if I just take my palms, I'm not gonna move anything really, but pull back against my bricks as if I were trying to scoot them, although I'm not. I'm gonna extend my sternum more, good, yes. Everybody, make sure that your back is not rounding. Look forward. If you need to come up on your fingertips, be honest with yourself because you don't want to have a rounded back. Thank you. Really, your neck will thank you. If you have a rounded back in this, it's gonna lead to neck pain. So stay as high as you need to for a strong, straight forward pose. But then, once we've got that, one more breath, we bend our elbows and we come down as far as possible to the final pose. So now we do let the back round, we do let the head release. Keep the legs active. Keep both legs active, and especially with that front leg, you're feeling the hamstring in that front leg. Extend from the buttock point all the way through the heel. Drive that muscle toward its foot to lengthen the thigh, even while the hip moves back. Take a breath here. And then we come back to the concave phase. Take your time and be sure you get a concave back. Make sure that your back can come up high enough so that your back can be truly flat here. Good. Then hands to your hips. Bend your front knee and step forward. Yeah. Cool. We have a second side. So, from Tadasana, press the big toe base joints. Press the outer back heels. Buttocks down toward the floor. Trapezius muscles down, sternum up. Good. I mirrored y'all last time and I have no idea where we are. So you did right foot in its place. So keep your left foot in its place now and move your right foot back 2 big steps. But since I'm sideways, I'm gonna do the same thing you did. Which means I'm doing the same pose. I'm gonna do my second side. Do your second leg. Now my hips are askew, so once again, I press that back hip forward, pull the back hip back, make sure my hips are level, press into the front big toe base, straight back heel, and lift my sternum to get as much length in the spine as possible. From here, keeping the legs poker straight and firm, I pivot forward and find my happy bricks. This side's a little harder for me, so I'm up a little more on my fingertips at first. You might be able to come down a little bit later. I think I probably will, but right now, this is my pose. So again, really engage both legs. Descend the thoracic spine between the shoulder blades. Pull the sternum forward. And if I'm looking at your round back, come up on your fingertips so that you can straighten it. It really will hurt your neck if you do that too much. And I have chronic neck problems, so I worry about people's necks. All right, so here from these 2 straight legs, stretch the sternum forward. How much length can you get in the sternum? Pull, 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 pull. Keep pressing that left hip now back. Good, and when you've got maximum length, go ahead and bend your elbows and allow your torso and head to drape down over the front leg. Keep the legs poker straight. They don't relax, even when the torso does. Keep the back heel and front big toe base joint pressing. Keep that front leg hip pulling back to the wall behind you. Breathe. And then back up. Re-square the hips. Extend the torso, so we're coming back into the concave phase. Pull the sternum forward. Beautiful. Check in with your legs and be sure they're working their maximum before you come up. And then hands to the hips and come up. And forward. Okay. So that's the first part of our next lovely vinyasa. The second part of the next sequence we're going to do is Prasarita Hanasana. It's our widest legged pose. And I'm pretty sure you've all done it, but I'll show really, really quickly. Because you can't see once your head is down. So watch for just a second. I start with my heels lined up on the back of the mat so that I'm sure they're in the same plane. My outer edges of my feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. I stop, press the outer heels again, lift the torso, pivot forward. I bring my hands to bricks or the floor, whatever keeps this back flat. If your back does this, come up on bricks, come up on a chair, keep the back flat. I take a moment here, pulling my hands back again, like I spoke about in the last pose, to bring my sternum forward and elongate the spine. Keep watching because we're not doing it together yet. And then I want my hands back and bring my head to the ground, a stack of blankets, blocks, whatever you need, but your head should be resting on something for this. To come out, we come back through the concave phase, heel toe in, hands to hips and up. So let's take that pose by itself first, and then we will do the fun vinyasa. So I'm going to turn this way this time. So first, take your wide-legged stance, heels along the back edge of the mat as if it were a ruler. I can't see everybody's feet, but I'm trusting you. Outer edges of the feet parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Some of you are already down. Come back to the concave phase. If you're already down, please. Thank you. Yeah, let's all go in together because I don't want you to stay there too long. All right, so from here, hands on the hips, extend the sternum and then come to that concave phase. Press those outer heels. Pull the palms back to pull the sternum forward. Good. Stretch here for a minute. This is where we get the length in the spine that we want to keep in the second part of this pose. So really pull the thighs back, pull the sternum forward, make your spine as long as possible. And then walk your hands back toward your toes, fingertips come in line with toe tips, bend your elbows, and bring your head down to something. I'm coming up to look, you stay. Good. Press the outer heels to lift the inner ankles and inner thighs. Legs keep working. The torso and head relax. The only part of the upper body that's still working somewhat are the shoulders and the trapezius muscles, and they move away from the head so as not to crunch the neck. So trapezius muscles and shoulder blades away from the head, but torso and head soft. Reinvigorate those legs. I see some knees getting soft. You don't think I'm talking to you, but I am. Everybody straighten your knees. Press the back heels and straighten your knees. Yes, even more. Straighten the knee again. Yes, good, 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 good. Good. This is a pose we can actually stay in for a long time. We're not going to today since we're working on vinyasa, but this is a restorative pose and it's cooling. And so if you're ever stressed out or if it's too hot outside, this is a wonderful pose to stay 10, 15 minutes in. It really is lovely and restorative and pretty accessible for most people. All right, we're gonna come up in a second. Wait, so first reinvigorate your legs. Everybody straighten those legs and walk out toward the concave face first. So concave face. Pull your palms back to straighten the spine. We're gonna get as long as we can in the spine again before we come up. And then when your spine is long, heel toe in. Our groins have been open for a long time, so don't try to come up from the really wide legs. Hands to the hips and up. Good. Okay, so this vinyasa I think is also fun. Y'all can tell, I love this stuff. So just watch. If you want to have bricks with you, you can. You have to move them. So it's up to you. I'll show you what it looks like to move the bricks. So just watch. We're going to start with the Parseval Hanasana that we did before. So I come down, but then I walk around to, well, look at this. I'm in Parseval. And we're going to stay here in Parseval for a while. Come back to the concave and then turn our feet and walk back to Parseval. And then concave. And we'll do the prasaritas in between, both coming and going. So that's pretty fun. So, and if you, I didn't move my bricks. If you want to move your bricks, so it's up, down, bricks out, right? And then the bricks would just come with you. Luckily you have 2 hands, 2 bricks, so it works. So decide if you want to use bricks or not, or if you're not sure, have them handy just in case. And come to the front of your mat. Good. So, from Tadasana, keep your left leg grounded, keep your right leg grounded, and take your left leg back 2 big steps. I'll mirror. And square your pelvis, and then bring your hands to the bricks of the floor, but we're in the concave phase of Parseval. So concave, do all of the good actions, square the hips, pull the sternum forward, make sure the knees are straight. Take a breath here, and then bend your elbows and come to the final pose. Drape the torso. Then come back to the concave version and walk your hands to your left as you turn your feet so that eventually the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the outer edges of the mat and you are in your concave Parseval. You're taking this really slow, it can feel confusing. There you go, and then stretch the spine. And then go ahead and bend your elbows and come to the full version of your Parseval with your head resting on something. Grab a brick, a blanket. Take a couple of breaths here. And then come back to concave. Walk your hands forward. Straighten your spine and stretch it again. That feels kind of nice. And start walking your hands even more toward your back leg as you turn your feet. So now, your left leg is pointing straight toward the wall in front of you, and you're facing the same way. You're in concave, Parseval, good. And then from concave, keep the legs working as you let the torso and head descend. Full pose, Parseval, second side. Keep the hips square, keep the legs working, keep the front leg hip pulling back toward the wall behind you. And come back to concave. And we're walking back toward the middle again. So turn back towards your Parseval. Move your legs as your hands move. So once again, we're in the concave phase of Parseval. And then walk your hands back, head down, full pose. Keep pressing those outer feet to lift the inner ankles and inner thighs. Keep moving the trapezius muscles away from the head, but just let that head rest. And come back to the concave phase. And really take it. Anchor those heels, lift those knees, pull those thighs back, extend that sternum. Take the opportunity to do the pose as beautifully and completely as you can, even though we're moving through it to something else. I think that's life, isn't it? Take each moment as beautifully and completely as we can. Now, walk your hands and rotate your feet back toward the very first side of Parseval. And we'll take a moment in the concave phase. So, torso up, sternum forward, both legs working, front hip pulling back toward the wall behind you. And then last time, last full pose, bend your elbows, keep the legs working, that protects your hips and your low back. And let the torso and head drape over those working legs. Keep pulling that front leg, hip back toward the wall behind you. Keep pressing that back hip forward towards your head. And just breathe. And back up to concave. Hands to your hips. Stand up with your torso and step forward. It can be 2 steps if you need it to be. That was kind of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it, as much as I did. All right, scram dogs. Now, let's start winding down a little. Everybody grab a brick and at least 2 blankets. We're heading toward Backhandasana. Scram. Backhandasana, bound angle pose. I apologize. I had to walk, I'm fostering a new dog, and he's a gazillion times of a handful. And I walked him in the mud this morning, and I have mud all over my shin. I apologize, everybody. I had no idea. Scram, 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 scram. So, Dandasana. And go ahead and take height, even if you didn't normally need it for Dandasana, because most people need it for Backhandasana. If you know your Backhandasana is fine on the ground, I don't see anybody that way. So, Dandasana, staff pose. First, find the exact center of your sits bones, press down, lift up, lift the whole torso away from the pelvis. Lift up out of your hip blades. Feel how much taller you get. You put your fingertips on the ground and help you lift that whole abdominal cavity, everything, ribs away from the hips. Good. And then check back in with the legs. Press the thighs down. The thighs, the quadriceps should be pushing down fiercely. They should be really working and extending away. So 2 things, down and out, okay? Spread the toes. I want to see lively toes. Lively toes. Your toes should be pointing straight up. In the classical pose, they're all the way together, but if that's inaccessible for you, then just be sure that your toes stay spread and your feet point straight up. Good. And now just for a challenge, lift up out of that torso again and Hanasana, because this is always harder than we think it's going to be, isn't it? Press those sits bones and lift up. 1 line of energy from sits bones through ring fingers. Be happy. Let your legs go. Feel how hard this is. Now press those thighs down again and extend. Doesn't that make this pose easier? You can nod your head or shake your head. The more you work the legs, the easier it is to lift the torso, I promise. I hope you can feel that. Okay, fingers down again. Now, take your hands, your right hand, grab your right knee, I'm mirroring again, and pull it in. I have a little bit of knee discomfort, so I'm gonna put a knee rope in, but you don't have to do that if you don't have knee discomfort. So pull it in, we're heading again toward Backhandasana, bound angle pose. Release that thigh. You take your hands, I know Anne does this a lot, and externally rotate the thigh. That's going to help the opening of the groin. Okay? Externally rotate the calf too. Let's get everything in this joint moving. Okay? Now you can do it twice. The external rotation, external rotation. So everything's going out, 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 out. Good. Then left hand, left leg in. Take the same time to externally rotate your left leg. Left thigh, left calf. Feel how that does give the groin a little more space. Now I have short arms, so I literally have to put a brick behind myself to press down. So most of you don't need to do that. You can push on your blankets, but take your hands behind you and once again, lift the abdominal cavity and the rib cage up away from the pelvis and hip bones. See how long you can get in the torso. Doesn't that feel nice? Good. Now, press your heels together. Really push the heels. When you push your heels, does that descend your knees? All your heads are free, you can nod or shake. Okay, watch me for just a second. When I press this is me just hanging out. This is me pressing my heels. See, they came down. My knees come down when I push my heels together. So that's what we're aiming at. So push your heels so much that your knees descend. And then extend your thighs, your inner thighs out through your knees and extend them even more. So you're pushing from the heels and you're extending the groins out to each knee. And see how low you can get those knees. Keeping the sternum up though. Don't curl the sternum to do it. Don't anybody curl. Can we bring our torsos back up? Can we bring our torsos back to straight? All right, so once we've got this, we're gonna make it harder because that's what we do in Iyengar yoga. So take the brick, we're gonna have a brick, put it narrow length between your feet. And the same thing. Hands behind you, press those heels. Extend from the groins out through the knees. Really work those inner legs. Push the heels, extend the knees. Push the heels. Your knees will be up a little higher just because of the mechanics of this pose, but it's a great stretch. So press the heels. Extend the two knees away from each other. Extend from the groins through each knee. Be happy because you're opening your groins, and that's good for everything. All right, then take the brick and move it to its second width and put it back between your feet. And then prop yourself up with your hands because it's really easy. I mean, here, I'm starting to feel like it's hard to keep my spine straight without the use of my hands, just because it's such a wide open groin pose. And then once again, once your spine is straight, press the heels, extend from the inner groins through the inner knees. Draw those knees down. Sternum up. Show your sternum to the ceiling. Thank you. Lift. Lift. All right, and we're going to be bold today because it's cooler, and we're going to take the widest width. It probably won't fit your whole feet, so be sure it's between your heels. This is awkward. This is awkward for everybody I know, but let's give it a shot. Press those heels, extend the knees away and aim out. Be glad that we're not doing this version the entire time. Make your knees as wide as they can be. Lift the sternum, get some space in there. Okay, now here's the dessert. Remove the brick entirely. Bring your feet all the way together for classical Backhandasana. And are your knees lower when you press your heels than they were at the very beginning? That little bitty sequence, just using the brick in 3 different directions, really opens most people's groins and allows most people to get their legs much closer to the floor. So imagine if you just did that a few times a week, how open your groins would be, right? So now let's go ahead for the classical pose. Go ahead and take your hands in front, open the front surface. So your heels keep pressing, but you use your thumbs to open the big toe base joints away from each other. I have short arms, so I really have to lean forward, but stay as straight as you can. Back straight, even if it's leaning forward. Pull the big toe base joints away, but press the heels together. Straighten the sternum, straighten the spine. This isn't a forward fold. This is just the upright version, of Tadasana, bound ankle pose. One more breath, and then release. Because our groins have been open for a long time, take your hands to lift your knees, and then come back to Tadasana. Lift the sternum, press the thighs down and away, and spread the toes. Cool. Let's do a twist. Let's just do, we haven't done any cross-legged poses. So let's go ahead and sit in Sukhasana, cross legs, but this is the version of cross legs where the edges of the feet are pointing toward the sides. We're not on the tops of the feet, that's Swastikasana. This is Sukhasana. So edges of the feet point to the sides of the room, feet are close to or under the knees, right? And the shins cross. And I have big calves, so I literally have to roll my front calf up so that it's comfortable to be as close to the other shin as it is. Good. So everybody check. Sometimes we actually use bricks against our feet to be sure that the soles of the feet are facing sideways. That's always pretty frustrating for me because my feet wiggle, so we're not going to do that. But imagine there are bricks keeping your feet honest and sideways. Good. So it's not, don't tuck the tops of your feet under. I think I saw somebody just do that. It's feet under the knees. This isn't that close in pose. This is the different one where the feet are under the knees, soles pointing sideways. Okay. From here, Hanasana, lift the sternum. We're going to twist to your right. So take your left arm and swing it across to your right knee. Take your right arm and swing it behind you to the blanket that you're sitting on. And then lift the sternum before you even twist. And as we twist, keep your chin in line with your sternum. Don't lead with the head. But now bend your elbows and rotate your torso. With every inhalation, get taller. With every exhalation, use your strong arms to rotate that torso even more to your right. Inhale, get long. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, twist. Twist from those lower ribs too. We tend to think about twisting from the middle and top, but the lower ribs have something to give us. Last inhalation, get maximally tall. Last exhalation, maximize the twist, and now you can let your head turn over that right shoulder. Keep the shoulders rolling down and back. Keep the spine long. Twist. And release. Hanasana, second side. And now right arm to left knee, left arm back. Get as tall as possible before you really start the twist. So press the sits bones, lift all the way through the spine, and then bend the elbows and rotate. With every inhalation, lengthen your spine. With every exhalation, rotate the torso even more. Keep the chin in line with the sternum until the very end. Lengthen the spine to inhale. Twist the spine to exhale. Last one. Inhale, get as tall as you can. And with the next exhalation, allow the head now to look over that left shoulder. Shoulders down and back, sternum up. Enjoy the twist. Twists are really good for our immune system, so we should be doing these every day. And back to the center. So we need to cross the legs on the second side. So notice which leg had come in first. Come back to Tadasana and recross your legs second side. It's important to always do everything equally or you will be uneven. And we're uneven enough without making it worse. So when you come back into your Sukhasana, be sure that the soles of the feet point to the sides and feet are under the knees. I roll my calf flesh up and then refine my sits bones. Go. All right, Hanasana. And once again, your left arm to the right knee, right arm behind you to the blankets, and twist. You know how to do it now. I'll let you find your own rhythm. But remember, keep the chin in line with the sternum until the very end. And then go ahead and allow your head to rotate all the way over that shoulder. And then back to center. Hanasana, last side. And this time, right arm to the left knee, left arm behind you. And then twist. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, into the spine. Exhale, twist. And release and set up for your favorite Shavasana. So I know you all are experienced practitioners, but I do want to remind everybody. Sukhasana, lie down with your knees bent so that you can literally move your buttock flesh towards your heels and then roll and tuck both shoulders under to keep all of that flesh moving away from your neck and really let the neck be loose and free, and then extend the legs away and let them just fall to the side. If you need support under your head, be sure that the support touches the tops of your shoulders but does not come under them. So make yourself as perfectly comfortable as you can for your very own Shavasana, corpse pose. You keep the arms away at least a 45-degree angle. The point of the arms is to really let the armpits open. You want your armpits to get air. And then just let your feet fall to the side. Don't try to keep them up. Allow your eyes to release into the back of your head. Release your tongue, your jaw, your throat. Allow the entire weight of your body to sink into the floor. If thoughts come into your mind, acknowledge them and let them go. Return your attention to your breath. Draw your awareness back. Extend your fingers. Extend your toes. Place your hands on your rib cage. Then draw first one knee into your chest. And then both. Hold your knees for a second. Roll to your right. And rest for just a moment on your arm or blanket. And when you're ready, rest yourself up to seated, head last. Let your head hang. Don't lead with the head. Nice, nice. And we'll pay our respects to the path of yoga. Namaste. Thank you all. That was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you.